is Victor. I'm trying to improvise my online course. We are in the middle of a crisis. This is the second day that we are in emergency state over here in Portugal. I'm trying to do my best to build up an online course called Mapping Export Markets. The reason why I'm doing it is very simple. I was a teacher, university teacher, and consulting in a few companies over here. Everything closed down, so this is the only way I found to get in touch with my students and with the business people that I was coaching. Just to give you a brief background on my life, I've been for more than 30 years export manager, working for companies over here in Portugal, in Switzerland, been also in UK teaching universities. I've been living and working in Brazil, also in Sao Paulo. So after traveling 28 countries, I believe I can share with you some experience that's going to help you to improve your business international trade. My personal motivation is that at the moment, with the COVID-19 crisis, with the pandemic crisis, confined with very reduced human social contact, we need to build up a new way of doing international business. Till the end of this year, the situation is going to be very complicated, but companies are going to need to start again to be international and to expose themselves to different cultures and countries to get opportunities. So this course is intended for people that value human interaction, that believe that international business is trying to bring people and companies together. I apologize for the limited resources we have at the moment. We are trying only to do this course with my mobile phone and a microphone, with the help of my kids. But I believe that the value that the course contains is very high, it's very effective, and it gives you also the opportunity to have 3 hours coaching sessions with me for the course. That's something that gives you the opportunity to share with me face to face over the internet anytime you want. Your concerns and your opinions and your needs of consulting, and that will help you to build up your business. So this course is in Portuguese and it's also in English. The English version is intended for my friends in Israel, Russia, and United States. The Portuguese version is intended to all my friends over here in Portugal and to all the friends I have in Africa, in the Portuguese-speaking countries, in Macau, and so on. So I hope you enjoy it, and I'm going to make a short presentation of my course in PowerPoint. And in the future, you're just going to see me in a small screen on your right side, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you. Okay, so welcome to our summary of the course. Mapping export markets doesn't exist as an academical field of research. I invented this name because it's basically a group of techniques and a mix of techniques that I learned through my many years of professional life. When I left university, international marketing, export management, logistics were the major fields of research regarding international business. But when you go to reality, you start to feel that many things that you learned at university doesn't make sense at all. So that's basically a concept I created, a mix of techniques, of mapping tools, which I believe are going to be very useful for you. So let's see. First, it's a new methodology of management. I believe that every country has a positive and negative side, of course, but we as Portuguese have something which is unique in our history. We have been traveling always around the world for business. We have discovered many countries as the first Europeans to visit them. We are very good at making maps. Of course, other countries have also their skills and are also very good at making maps, like the Dutch, for example, and so on. But we have learned these techniques of reading maps and making maps because of our history. And my idea was, why cannot I develop maps or adapt maps that I see in management everywhere around, and I can use them in export? So basically, the This mapping export markets, it's a set of tools that allows you very fast to understand markets and to plan them. And if you see at the crisis management, and of course in the context of COVID-19 and in other crises we had over here in the world, in Europe, in the world, whatever, we see that people always like to summarize the main ideas in maps and in screens, and our course will be about mapping our reality in terms of exports, okay? So, we are always confronted with the dilemma that we don't have perfect planning. The world is in crisis. It has been always in crisis. Unfortunately, this crisis with the COVID-19 is something completely out of the box that we were not thinking about. But I just noted down to talk over here the famous law of Murphy that says that everything that we think that can go wrong will go wrong, and we should have always a plan A, B, C, D, because reality is very difficult to predict. And that's my point over here. If you look at the trend in export marketing in the last 10 years, everyone has been focused on the digital world because it's very easy to plan. You know, you make a program, you put your product in a marketplace, you standardize the things in such a way that you think the things will work, and then in reality nothing works because we are our world is made out of the digital world plus the human side of it, the human dimension, and the human dimension is not predictable. And that's the central point in my training course, is to focus on the business-to-business area, mainly because we are not trying to sell small quantities of products internationally. We are working for larger companies. If you have a company that needs to sell their production every month, you need to focus on quantity, of course. And then I'm focused on the human side of all these problems of trying to internationalize and trying to making deals, and the people on the other side that will make deals with you, people that won't make deals with you, and so on. So the crisis that we have seen in the last year has been related with markets. The classical dilemma over here is, for example, United States against India, against China, China against Europe, Europe against China. Everyone has been trying the last few years to block themselves and to protect themselves in a trend that was not normal 10 years ago. Because 10 years ago we were trying to build up the European Union. In South America, America was Brazil and other countries were trying to build their own union, trade union, and then we started a sort of commercial war. Everything ended with this COVID crisis because now we are basically closing down our markets because we don't have mobility, and we are not sure how it's going to be the future because we have learned very fast that the virus can spread so largely because of people moving around that we need to rethink maybe our frontiers. So we have the borders closed at the moment. For the next 6 months, I'm sure they are not going to open, and there's no plane flying around. So the future of international trade is going to be a big dilemma because we don't know what is going to happen. Okay. On the other side, we have seen that the business process has evolved. More and more companies are going digitally. The salesman in the past used to be someone that had with his briefcase with lots of business cards. Nowadays is the mobile phone. Everything is going mobile, and so we are seeing that the export process has been evolving so rapidly. And with this particular crisis now, we are going to jump 10 years in terms of development because everyone is now working from home. Everyone is using their technology they have at hand. And we are seeing companies refounding themselves, reorganizing themselves, and maybe we are jumping in a 10 leap of a technological advancement that we never have seen before. Okay. On the other side, the global presence is that we have seen companies that are sometimes located in small villages that have a global reach. This is due to technology, something that would be non-imaginable a few years ago, and maybe this trend is going to go further in the future. And then we have seen that small companies are much more effective, efficient, much more aggressive than large companies. And this is also puts us on to think about the startup community. How many small companies have started from 2 or 3 employees to be global, to be a billion business, and they have done it with much less resources that we will see in 10 or 20 years ago. So everything is changing. On the other side, this is the human side of change. A sales manager used to keep the contacts from himself, okay, for himself. He used to protect them because that was his key advantage, is to have the contacts in all the markets. And for example, if you did business in France, the business cards he had from France were their main asset. It was his main asset, you know. But nowadays, information is available to everyone, basically. And we need to work more with other people to make things work. So this is a big challenge. In the future, the work is going to be team-related. And this is a new challenge that most of the classical export manager were not used to, okay? And then finally, if you look off this change as a crisis, and inclusive this one with the COVID-19, the human side of us has a big challenge. And the big challenge is that you have so many adversities in your life as an export manager that you need to develop yourself in your spiritual and your motivational side. Because this is a long-term run that you need to have enough energy to do it. So I've seen that through the last 30 years working in so many companies over here in Europe and in Brazil and Switzerland, that people that are good salespeople and export managers are people that are very high motivated and have a specific type of thinking. And that's, we are going to also talk during our training course. Okay? So basically, if we summarize this, you can see on my left side, if I would train you as an export manager, I would train your digital skills and your mapping capability to read the market, and also to export online with all the digital tools you have at the moment. But most importantly, I would train your right side. That is the side you mostly will only learn through experience. That has to do with human persuasion, because we as humans, we are not obliged to like everyone around us. And sometimes you have a great product and great service, but you go to a particular market that you spend your time with the wrong people. And sometimes that particular buyer doesn't want to do business with you. So the human persuasion is a critical factor for success. The critical question over here is, after COVID-19, what's going to be in export related with human interaction? Because we are going to be closed for so much time. I hope not, but we are going to have maybe another way to relate with other people. And human persuasion has been a factor of success for so many decades that I believe it's impossible to change it. But that's my opinion. And then the other point is that qualifying clients, which is also a mistake I've seen over the so many years of my professional life. We can't work with everyone. We need to be very selective. We need to be very efficient. And I've dedicated one session just exclusively to this technique of qualifying people, based on some training I received in Las Vegas and in Israel regarding sales techniques that I think are very useful for your training session. So basically, this is the duality: digital versus human side in export. Okay. So first session, we are going to work on your mind, your perception about exporting and international business. I'm going to talk about the problems you're facing. I'm going to talk about my experience in the last 30 years, show you that everything has evolved very fast and how it has evolved with practical cases. Okay. And the last part, I'm going to take you on a journey to use a very interesting map developed by a Dutch company, consulting company. They're very good at it. And that you're going to map your export business. And then you're going to make a practical exercise that you're going to see yourself through that map and your reality, and you're going to see if you fit, what are the activities you need to do, what are the relationships you need to develop, what are the strategies you need to develop, and so on. Okay? Second session. We are going to talk about research. Why? Because if you take the challenge to be export manager, and you go to a company working as an export manager, The first thing you're going to be facing is the need to have the right information in your desk, the right network of contacts in your desk, to start to understand which are the priority markets you should focus or not focus. And so I have a certain group of tools and techniques I have developed through my years as a sales manager that I'm going to share with you. That in the second session, we are going to make a small stop, and I'm going to invite you to take your homework with you and all the material I've gave you digitally, and you're going to have a face-to-face coaching session with me where you're going to have a conversation with me, where you're going to tell me, first of all, what is your personal development in terms of training. Second, you're going to tell me how you feel that the techniques are fitting or not fitting in your project, your company, and so on. And so we are going together to see how the different techniques are fitting into your management strategy. Okay, it's very practical, and it's going to be very useful, and it's going to be fun. Okay. Third session, we will work a bit around the mixed variables in export. What do I mean by that? International marketing, you have so many variables, you need to work on it. In terms of practical perspective, you end up to have to deal with 4 P's: price, product, distribution, and promotion. But then you have 2 extra ones that I put over here in this context. I don't know, I'm not sure if they exist in terms of theory, but that's called people and places. Why? Worlds, that's the correct term I use. But I put it places because it's a P. People, if you don't do business with the right people, you're in trouble. If you don't choose the right market, maybe you have a great product, maybe you have a great persuasion, but the decision to go to that particular market can be a very serious mistake. For instance, in so many, I've traveled for more than 28 countries in my life. I have success stories in few markets, unsuccessful stories in other markets. For example, in the last 4 years, one of the markets that I didn't have any success at all was, for example, Russia, because Russia is a very complicated market. You need to have very, very specific people on the other side of the market that can help you. And there's also the culture and the language barrier, a part of the political system they have and so on. But for example, a market that I had a very easy going relationship with all the buyers over there in my last 2 years was Canada. Canada is a great country to export. And for example, that gives you an idea that there might be people or specific markets that might be more interesting for you or less interesting for you, okay? And then the fourth session has to do with operations. If you look at to the world we live in, we're living more and more, the companies are like military units. They're very efficient. They're getting much more technological than many years ago. People are focused on a certain, let's say, economical battle, okay? You need to train your team. You need to have a certain organization of operations. What we are going to do in market operations is to see how you get into certain markets. If you're going to a trade fair, if you're going digitally, if you're going to travel, if you're going to visit client by client, how are you going to operate your business in terms of practical things you need to do on a daily basis. Of course, this is a bit complicated at the beginning if you're starting your own business because you're not sure what you should do. But I have a few exercises that will help you to list down some of the key critical activities that you should do. On that fourth session, we are going to stop again. You're going to schedule a face-to-face meeting with me. And with the exercise I gave you on session 3 and session 4, we are going to talk about your strategy. We are going to see if you have a clear idea what is going to be the market you're going to go in, what are the implications of your operations on that market, and that's going to be very useful for you to organize all your strategy point of view of your international business activity, okay? That's the coaching session 2. So, then we have a session 5, which is something unusual. Let me put it this way, because I've been teaching in some MBAs in my past, some postgraduate courses, undergraduate courses. This last 2 years, I've been teaching with some universities in seminars, and not many people give a lot of importance with this. But I think psychology, understanding the person on the other side you're doing business, is a critical factor of success. I'm going to use two models. I'm going to use one model used by the CIA in the 70s, which allows you to understand the dimension of someone that looks to your market, what he sees in your market, how the person thinks in terms of getting the information and building up their reality. And then I'm going to use a model used in the 80s by the FBI, which has to do with developing friendships, which I call how you make friends in foreign markets. Why? Because when you're operating in international markets, you need to make friends, because they are going to be a human network. Develop your capability to be there, to sell, and to get you opportunities for you when you're not there. Of course, you can argue that we have always the digital side of reality, but let's face it, if you're very serious with yourself and you look yourself in the mirror, you will understand that the good things and the good business you made in life are always related with the personal contacts you have and with the face-to-face negotiation that you have. And if you understand better the person on the other side, the better. And then on session 6, we are going to talk about qualifying clients. There's a lot of great trainers around this topic. I did a great, I cannot say the name of the person, he's very famous, but I did a very interesting training course in Las Vegas, United States, regarding qualifying clients, which I think is great. Because after you start to develop your business international, you start to understand that not every client deserves the same treatment. You know, there are clients that they deserve the best of us because they give us great business and we give them great solutions. But there are other clients that simply doesn't make sense, and so we need to qualify them. And qualifying is an art, is a technique that you need to be very skillful. Because if you talk with someone or you meet someone in a trade fair, in a business meeting, you need to be very sharp and very quick to understand what is the person on the other side, what is the business dimension for you there, if it's credible, not credible, how are you going to qualify them. And I developed a technique that is very specifically applied to export, which I think is unique in what I've been seeing around here, specifically in Portugal, that can help you to organize this qualifying methods or technique to apply it on the day-to-day business, okay? And then you have some practical work you have to submit, okay? To give an idea, this is going to take about 9 weeks if you take in consideration the online course plus the coaching and the homework, okay? And then we have the final coaching session. The final coaching session, you're going to apply everything I teach you, I shared with you, which is the basic attitude of international business. You're going to organize a strategy that you're going to present to me. You're going to make your own argument, your own script. You're going to make a product presentation for me in any language you want. I speak fluently German. I speak fluently French. I speak fluently Spanish, English, of course, and Portuguese. So we are going to make a simulation of international negotiations. So you're going to be a bit nervous as usual, but you're going to understand what are your weak points, your strong points, your good arguments, your bad arguments, and you're going to develop your script that's going to be useful to understand how you put all together this digital world, this world where you need to be persuasive, and the new challenge that you're going to face, because after COVID-19, I'm sure about that, you will need to face it face-to-face to negotiate again, and that's a skill you need to have, okay? So to give you a general idea of the course, I think you should download the perspectives of the course, because it's more detailed and you can see it with more time. To end this presentation of my course, I just would like to say to you 3 important things. First of all, this is not online export course in the digital context, okay? This involves the digital world, but it's much more human focused. I think from my presentation you get more or less the idea what it's all about. Second, don't spend your time with people that never worked in the international business and are teaching international business to you. That's not in particular in the context of the business platform that I'm going to put in my course, but it's a comment I make, advice I make to you in the context of what I've seen around here in Europe. Many people teach international business, but never closed down a business in in international context, they don't have a clue what is the difficulties of doing international business. Okay? And the last one, I make a limited offer of coaching, which I think is a great value and gives you also the opportunity to meet me and the opportunity to exchange some more information if you need. It's limited because with this, with a bit of humor, of course, with this crisis we have with the COVID-19, I'm not sure if I'm still will be around, but I've completed my missions, so to speak, because, you know, for so many years working in international trade, teaching in universities and so on, I think this is a great present for my kids as a father, for them seeing me teaching and online one day, because they seriously don't believe I ever teach or coach people, because father-kids relationship is different. But I made my mission to share with you the most practical perspective and the most practical tools I would advise any salespeople to have at this moment if you would like to go to international trade. And to finalize, I just would like to say that it is critically important, it's not only important, of course, that companies survive and companies will start up again in their national markets. It's critical that we start again international business. Because when you export to Spain, to France, to Italy, to Brazil to Europe, to the US, to Russia, to whatever, people get connected. And by getting connected, you create wealth to both countries. And you make a bridge. And that bridge allows people to be in contact with each other, creates peace, prosperity, puts people together. I think our mission, and that's the noble mission of a sales manager, is to make bridges to other realities. We used to say in the 15th centuries that Portugal gave to the world new worlds. I believe that's still actually one of the missions we still are making as in humanity. We international business try to build bridges to new worlds, and I think the profession of export manager is going to still be critical for the success and development of a free world and a prosperous world. I hope you understand my English. Sometimes it's a mix of languages because of the other languages I speak. So I invite you to have a quick look at my presentation in paper, in PDF, and it was a pleasure to have presented to you my course, and wish you good luck in life and stay safe.